Ladies and gentlemen, it is Tuesday, the 4th day of July. The year is 2017, and if you can hear the sound of my voice, you are the revolution. I am Revolutionary Warrior number 1, General of the Save the World Army, Smokin' Joe McHale, and I would like to welcome you to day 296 of Operation Save the World. We are live from beautiful Sydney, Australia, and this is the Save the World Army live daily news, smashing through the lies of the Illuminati, smashing through the lies of the New World Order, and smashing through the lies of the government who are escalating their attacks against humanity every single day. But even though they are escalating their attacks against us, my brothers and sisters, don't you dare be sour. Join the Save the World Army and feel the power. Yes, yes, yes. I have the power. You have the power. We have the power. Humanity has the power, and we have to use that power, the power of love, to beat the Illuminati, to break the New World Order, to bring down the government, and to save the world, because we know that the only way for humanity to be free is for us to bring down the government that is enslaving us. Thank you so much for joining me on this beautiful July afternoon. Darren Lee, good to see you, my brother. He says, yes, Shamanicist in the house. Good to see you live, brother. Good to see you all the way from Costa Rica. And Luke, thank you for joining us. And Spartacus Revolutionary Sergeant 176, thank you for joining us, brother. Also, Grant Barker and AJ, the hater extraordinaire. Thank you for joining us, my brother. We can see all over the world people are rising up against this evil system, and we are not going to stand by while wars continue all over the world, while innocent people continue to be killed. AJ says, hey, I just found you on Instagram. And AJ, sorry. I don't think I should have called you a hater extraordinaire. I thought you were somebody else. Let me see. AJ Culver. My apologies, AJ Culver. You are Adrian Culver, Revolutionary Warrior 532, Rise to Survive. Thank you for tuning in, my brother. From neonnettle.com. Tens of thousands swarm London in massive elite uprising. Media silence. Protesters against Theresa May's New World Order agenda. By Daniel Newton, July 2, 2017. Tens of thousands have swarmed the streets of London in a massive protest against the globalist elite government of Theresa May and her New World Order agenda. And Revolutionary Warrior 508, Nikita, thank you for joining us. She says, hey there everyone, much love. Protesters gathered outside the BBC headquarters in central London, demanding an end to the government's cruel austerity measures which have already cost thousands of lives. The 10,000-strong demonstrators also held a minute's silence for the victims of the tragic Grenfell Tower fire, which has killed at least 80 people. Press.tv reports more than 10,000 people started marching towards Parliament Square in central London while holding signs that read, "What a dismay, Theresa May, Sasha away." The rally was organised by the People's Assembly Against Austerity, which earlier said in an online statement that they need to make sure the opposition to the government is felt. Spartacus says, I haven't heard of that. I've been all over the place. That's all good, brother. Shamanicus said, this Instagram is confusing. Might take a while to get all the members on here. That's all right, brother. We are moving forward. We are growing stronger by the second. If we continue to mobilise in huge numbers, we can deepen the crisis for the Conservatives and force big concessions on the NHS, education, housing and jobs, the group wrote. Leader of the opposition Labour Party, Jeremy Corbyn, also addressed the rally in Parliament Square. He once again criticised the government and told the rally that the London fire that burnt out the 24-story tower on June 14 has exposed the disastrous effect of austerity. To the victims of the Grenfell Tower, we pledge now, we stand with you and your families all the way through. We bring you sympathy, but more importantly, we bring you solidarity, he added. We will not rest until every one of those families is properly housed within the community in which they want to live. Grenfell Tower symbolised for many everything that's gone wrong with this country since austerity was imposed upon us, he told the crowd. These austerity measures are just one of the multi-pronged attacks that we are facing. We are being attacked from every single angle. They're poisoning the water, the food, the air. They're killing people in wars. The police state is growing every single day. We must continue to use peaceful methods to expose these disgusting, decrepit, deleterious demons and to set humanity free by bringing their evil government down. From naturalnews.com, 23 items you're probably throwing away but shouldn't. Of course, we should all prepare for the worst and get ready for a grid down scenario. We should all have storable food, fluoride-free water, water filtration systems, medical supplies. We should have martial arts training. This article by Joanna Robinson. The everyday mantra of doomsday preppers is to store anything that they could possibly need should an emergency arise. Some might say that they're going for overkill, but what preppers are doing actually makes sense. Resources, much like energy, should be conserved lest we find ourselves one day running out of them. And Sin City Jason, Revolutionary Sergeant 40, leading Sin City squad out of Las Vegas. Much love to you, brother. And Sharmanicus said the UK's political system is collapsing. You are exactly right there, much like many of the other governments all over the world. Aside from storing things that they deem can be of future use, preppers repurpose items to save money. Here are some of the items that they stock up on and repurpose. You might want to embark on the same endeavour. This will benefit not only you, but also the environment. And Sharmanicus says, hey Sin City, my brother. Number 1, old shoes and boots. A lot of people would not want to get caught dead wearing their old shoes, even if the shoes have no apparent damage. However, no one would care about fashion in the event of an apocalypse. Stocking up on footwear is like stocking up on currency during the apocalypse. You'd be a rich man by the end of all of this. Number 2, wire. You should think twice about throwing away any kind of wire. Conductive wire could be traded for electrical repair or for making a tin can directional Wi-Fi antenna to facilitate communication even after the event of an electromagnetic pulse. Non-conductive wire, on the other hand, can be used to fasten items or put them in place. Store the wires that you've collected in a safe and dry spot to avoid getting electrocuted should a wire suddenly come live. And Sin City Jason says, g'day to Sharmanicus. Number 3, spare nuts, bolts and screws. Other types of fasteners that you might save include bolts, screws and spare nuts to go with the wire that you're keeping in storage. Number 4, used candles. When electricity becomes a foreign concept, material sources of light would be invaluable. This is why it's important that as early as today, you don't get rid of any single candle that comes into your possession. For optimum saving purposes, you might want to gather pieces of candle wax from really short candles and put them all in one container so that they can become a newer, bigger candle. Number 5, broken pencils. You might get confused as to what you would do with a broken pencil in the middle of an apocalyptic scenario. You certainly don't need it to take notes in school. Maybe you would need it to stab an enemy in the eye. In any case, either end of the exposed graphite in the pencil can burst into flames when hooked up to a car battery and cable. Having broken pencils when you don't have a lighter with you can be very convenient. And Sin City Jason says, I'm prepped and ready to rock. We are ready to roll. But more importantly than prepping, well, on a par with prepping, we must do the hard work to peacefully expose this system and to bring it down. Sharmanicus says, still getting the signal drops, must be my end. It looks like we're good on my end, brother. Number 6, toilet paper rolls. Aside from their obviously sanitary purposes, toilet paper can serve as tinder for burning. However, if you find yourself needing to use tissues for their intended purpose and none can be found at hand, you can use the leaves of maple, mullein, large-leaved aster, cottonwood, hazelnut, thimbleberry, fuzzy lamb's ear, or grape to clean or wipe yourself, or something else. Sin City Jason says, yup, graphite. And Sharmanicus says, much better video though. Yes, the video is in much higher quality. You can all see my handsome features much more clearly. Number 7, expired honey. Raw honey doesn't really get bad, so as long as your commercially bought honey is stored in a dry and warm place, you can expect to be able to use it for a long time. Spartacus said, I'm screwed, but I'll get there. We will get there in the end, brother. Number 8, rusted tools. Keep your rusting tools because during the apocalypse, the hardware store would likely be closed and ransacked. Clean the old ones that you have now, and you might find yourself bartering them for something that you might really need later on. And rusted tools could also be used as a weapon in a survival situation. Number 9, dryer lint. Dryer lint is easy to collect and it can serve as firewood. And Sharmanicus says, lol. Number 10, plastic soda and water bottles. Plastic bottles can store a lot of things, but during the event of an apocalypse, you would need to use plastic bottles mostly for drinking water in. You might be on the move, and glass bottles or containers are heavy and not handy to bring along with you, so plastic bottles are essential. And Spartacus said, I got 5 out of 10 things. Let me count how many I got so far. And S. Ryan, 823. Thank you very much for tuning in. He is Revolutionary Warrior 568, Irish Warrior. Much love to you, brother. Sin City Jason says they found honey in the tombs of the pharaohs. Excellent point. And Sin City Jason says all rusty tools spark on concrete can help start a fire. Yes. And Irish Warrior, so good to see you, my brother. So let's count. Let's all keep a tally of how many of these items we have. And if we don't have them, let's work to build our inventories. So number 1, old shoes and boots. Yes. Wire. Yes, I have plenty of wire. Nuts, bolts and screws. Plenty of them. Used candles. Yeah, a whole bunch of them. Broken pencils. Got a whole bunch of pencils. Toilet paper rolls. Yes. Expired honey. I'm a vegan, but in my preparedness pantry, I have like a 5-liter tub of honey, and I guess it's expired because I bought it many years ago and haven't eaten honey in many years. Rusted tools, got plenty of them. Dryer lint, no. I don't have that, or I don't collect that. 10 plastic soda and water bottles. Yeah, I got a whole preparedness pantry full of old water bottles filled with water. So I've got 9 out of 10 so far. That's pretty good. And Mushroom Mitch, my brother, Revolutionary Warrior 477. Thank you for tuning in. Sharmanicus said, I highly recommend a rocket stove made out of square steel tubing. Nice one. And Sin City Jason gives a thumbs up. Continuing. Number 11, old clothes. Some people treat clothes as if they're disposable. Pieces of clothing or fabric are important during a survival situation as you can repurpose them. Aside from being something that you can wear, they can be used as blankets for warming, rags for cleaning, and even as cover for containers. 12. Wood scraps. You might not need them now, but come crises, you might find wood scraps a valuable resource, especially when you need to light a fire. And Sin City Jason says, I have stock in dryer lint. Nice one. And 4 eyes. Revolutionary Sergeant 336. Great to see you. And Spartacus says, we need guns as well. Damn, the Port Arthur hoax took them away. Yes, the Port Arthur false flag massacre in Tasmania disarmed Australians of all of their guns, but we got the guns right here, my brother. And once again, I recommend everybody learn martial arts. Irish Warrior says, saw some chemtrails being spread over central New York today with 4 eyes. And 4 eyes is here as well. Much love to both of you. Crazy, they sprayed here in Sydney again today, from New York to Sydney, from Shanghai to Los Angeles, from Mumbai to Timbuktu. They are spraying humans with aluminium, barium, strontium, cadmium, titanium, nanotechnology. They're doing their best to destroy our minds, destroy our bodies, and destroy our spirits. But our minds are sharp, our bodies are strong, and our spirits are oh so powerful. My brothers and sisters, we will be victorious. And Sin City Jason says, wool clothes, warm when wet, and will quickly dry near fire. Nice one. and the Save the World Army Coastie Squad. Much love to you. I'm guessing that's Revolutionary Corporal Ghost Who Walks. Much love to you, my brother. Revolutionary Corporal 366 Ghost Who Walks. And Nikita says, hey, Four Eyes, much love. Sin City Jason says, get good with a bow and a crossbow. And Ghost Who Walks is in the house. Good to see you, bro. Sharmanicus said, we'll post a rocket stove design on the BDTG page. By the way, avoid refilling bottles. It's not good unless in emergencies they can leach carcinogenic chemicals. Yeah, I know, man. All of those plastic water bottles, they leach BPA and a whole bunch of other chemicals. But in an emergency situation, I would rather have water that has BPA in it than have no water. I hear exactly what you're saying. That's why I drink out of a stainless steel bottle. That's why I drink fluoride-free water. But I do definitely think we should store all of the old water bottles we have and fill them up with water. Nikita says, hey, Ghost Who Walks, and Revolutionary Sergeant number 5, Tabasco Tammy. Thank you for tuning in. Shamanica says, how do I scroll the comments, anyone? They should scroll automatically, bro. Four Eyes says, I want to protest at the American Honor Celebration. I will not honor lies. I want to record it also. That would be fantastic. It is the 4th of July here. It's about 2:30 in the afternoon. I'm guessing it'll be the 4th of July soon in the land of the sheep and the home of the slaves. But we're not sheep. We are not slaves. We are not sycophants. We are not Stockholm Syndrome suckers. We are revolutionary warriors, and we are doing what it takes to beat the Illuminati, break the New World Order, bring down the world government, and save the world. Spartacus says, Sin City, any good clothes? Tell me what's good to get. Sin City Jason says, canteens and camelbacks. And Ghost Who Walks carries the winds of change in his lungs and voice and THC in his veins. You and me both, my brother. Tabasco says, hey, everybody. Woo! Nikita says, hey, Tabasco. Irish Warrior says, how's everyone tonight? I'm excellent, my brother. And Spartacus says, yo, fam, Tabasco. Shamanica says, hi, Tabasco. Ghost Who Walks says, woo, yeah, fellow warriors, brothers and sisters. It's so great to see so many of you here on Instagram after I've been banned from Facebook. They can't stop the power of truth. They can't stop the power of peace. They cannot stop the power of love. Sin City Jason says, clothing, 511 tactical gear. Tabasco says, hello, feeling good tonight, revolutionary warriors. Four Eyes says, yes, we will be victorious. And Ghost Who Walks says, hemp clothing, people. Woo, yeah. Actually, my my jiu-jitsu bag is 100% hemp. It's awesome. It's antimicrobial, antibacterial, so it doesn't stink after I put my dirty jiu-jitsu gear in there. The brand is Datsusara. They make a whole bunch of hemp gear. Excellent point. Ghost Who Walks. Sin City Jason says, hello to all righteous warriors. Sharmanica says, comments frozen. And the Ghost Who Walks says, they can't stop us. We can't be beaten. Who did that song, Ghost Who Walks? Was it Angry Anderson, Rose Tattoo? We can't be beaten. Ah, that's a great song. If you want to join my gang, start up with me. We'll start a revolution and make the streets free. Nice track. And Ghost Who Walks is giving the thumbs up. Four Eyes says, nice bag. And Irish Warrior says, they can't stop us, Joe. We will be victorious. You know it, my brothers and sisters. Continuing. Things we should stock now for an emergency. Yes, I was right. Rose Tattoo. Number 13. Cord, string, and rope pieces. These pieces of items are always good to have during an emergency situation. You never know when you would need to sew clothing or a wound, or when you would need to bind something. Number 14, broken crayons. Crayons, like candles, are made of wax, so the next time that your child breaks a crayon, keep it. This broken piece can be another ingredient for your homemade wax. Ghost Who Walks says, Woo, yeah. And Nikita says, woo. And Sharmanika says, hi, goes to walks. Number 15, zip ties. Zip ties, while virtually taking up no space, have lots of uses. They can be used to fasten different items, from containers to bags to jackets. Number 16, coffee grounds. Unused coffee grounds can be used as compost for the garden, so spilled coffee beans should not go to the trash, but instead to a container for storage. Number 17, vegetable scraps. While we are not saying that you shouldn't be picky with the quality of food that you eat, you may not want to throw away vegetables just because you don't like how they look. You may want to use them for compost or as feed for your livestock, if you have any. Sin City Jason says, I hate to say it, but synthetic clothing will not rot. Bugs will eat cotton. I think wool and hemp are nice, but they can fray and unravel. That is a good point. This bag, I've had it for maybe 6 months, hasn't really unraveled yet, but I've heard that it can happen. Spartacus says, what's that movie that everyone in FEMA camps, it'll be an outcast living outside of the pens? I'm not sure, bro. I bet you there's a whole bunch of movies like that with their predictive programming. And Irish Warrior says, glad to see everyone on tonight. It's so good to see everyone. Sin City Jason says, I have stock in zip ties and duct tape. You are prepared, my brother. And in the comments section, I'm going to put the links to all of our... Oh, that's not what I wanted to post. Dalimat, thank you very much for tuning in. Let me continue. Hair clippings. I don't know if that's going to work for me. You can compost pile... Your compost pile can benefit from hair that you've cut or shaved off, which you were going to throw away. Soap chips. Little pieces of soap that are remnants of your soap's former glory shouldn't be thrown away. Instead, try to compress each piece of leftover soap to create a new one, a la Lisa Simpson. 20. Broken rubber bands. Repair rubber bands that you thought were forever broken by tying the two ends together, and you find yourself in possession of another type of item fastener. Number 21. Metal breath mint containers. Small containers like this are perfect for homemade ointments, balms, and salves. Salves or salves? I think it's salves. Toothpicks and cotton buds can also be placed inside them. Number 22. Plastic milk jugs. Why buy pots from the supermarket or grocery store when you can put your plants inside your used milk jug? This is an ideal way to start a garden until such time that you can transfer your plants into a stationary lot. Number 23, paper clips. Paper clips are often overlooked as they are so abundant in this world. However, storing them can actually prove to be a useful habit, as fastening things can be extra easy with their help. And Goes to Walk says, hemp lasts a long time. Spartacus says, I have hiking shoes, but they're too big for me. Lol. What size are they, bro? I wear like a 13. Let me know if we do some kind of trade for those shoes. The Goes to Walk says, hemp was used for many purposes before their stupid prohibition laws. And that's why they keep it legal, because it can destroy the oil industry. It can destroy so many different industries because hemp is a wonder product. And Z-Man, Revolutionary Warrior 474, great to see you. And Sin City Jason agrees with Ghost Who Walks. What I'll do right now in the comment section, I'll put the link to the brand new social media network that I created, www.thesavetheworld.army. What? Oh, I totally stuffed up. I'm broadcasting this broadcast from the Smokin' Joe McHale Instagram. I thought I would be broadcasting from the from the Save the World Army Instagram. That's really funny. Four Eyes says, much love everyone. I must go to bed. I have to plan my protest for tomorrow's ceremony. Much love to you, Four Eyes. Thank you so much for your courage. S. Ryan, Irish Warrior says, much love to everyone, to see everyone. We've got to turn in tonight. Love everyone. Love you, Joe. Much love to you, Revolutionary Warriors. That's really funny how I broadcast from the wrong account. Anyway, Smokin' Joe has about 8,000 or 9,000 Instagram followers compared to about 1,700 for the Save the World Army. So we might get more viewers. Our next article. the top 20 crazy conspiracy theories that were proven to be fact. And what I'll also do is in the comment section, I'll put in the brand new store I created at the Save the World Army. The Save the World Army .threadless .threadless.com. We got t-shirts, hoodies, and a whole lot more at the SaveTheWorldArmy.threadless.com. Sin City Jason says, hemp is as valuable to humanity as cannabis. Excellent point. And he says, good night, Four Eyes. And Spartacus says, I just saw that, let's go on there. Do you mean I should start broadcasting from the SaveTheWorld.Army? Let me know. Shamanica said, if you take soft fruit peelings such as papaya, mango, banana, apple, but not acid fruit like citrus or pineapple, and coat in farm-grade molasses for 3 days, then strain and add 1 part liquid to 4 parts water, what happens? Goes to Walk says, got change, brother. If you go live, you have more than one account on Instagram. Yeah, I'm not sure if I should go to the other account, but let's stay here for the moment. Shamanica said, it makes excellent organic fertilizer, especially for pot. Nice one. And Ghost Who Walks says, I am in Coasty and thought was Adam Walker. Yeah, it's a little bit confusing, isn't it? Ghost Who Walks. And Revolutionary Sergeant number 7, Willis. Thank you for tuning in, brother. Let's get started with the top 20 crazy conspiracy theories that were proven to be fact. By Jay Greenberg, May 21, 2017. And Willis says, good afternoon, General. Good afternoon to you, bro. And Spartacus says, yes, more people, the better. Conspiracy theories have long been stigmatized and ridiculed by mainstream news outlets, government-paid internet trolls, and rational thinkers. More recently, politicians and the mainstream media have branded any outlet that dares question the official narrative as fake news in the hope of discrediting any genuine researchers. Whistleblowers such as Edward Snowden, Chelsea Manning, WikiLeaks, and generations of intrepid journalists have helped pave the way for the truth movement, opening people's eyes to the facts that were once brushed aside as wild conspiracy theories. Here are 20 conspiracy facts that are well documented and profoundly disturbing. Number 1, the Gulf of Tonkin incident. And Spartacus says, yes, the more people, the better. And Sin City Jason says, broadcast from SJM for an hour, then switch to the Save the World Army. We'll see how we go, my man. Number 1, the Gulf of Tonkin incident. A major escalator of US involvement in the Vietnam War never actually occurred. It's true. Oh, it's true. The original incident, also sometimes referred to as the USS Maddox incidents, involved the US destroyer Maddox supposedly engaging 3 North Vietnamese Navy torpedo boats as part of an intelligence patrol. The Maddox fired almost 300 shells. President Lyndon B. Johnson promptly drafted the Gulf of Tonkin Resolution, which became his administration's legal justification for military involvement in Vietnam. The problem is, the event never happened. In 2005, a declassified internal National Security Agency study revealed that there were no North Vietnamese naval vessels present during the incident. So, who was the Maddox firing at? In 1965, President Johnson commented, "For all I know, our Navy was shooting at whales out there." Worth pointing out, the NSA's own historian, Robert J. Hanyok, wrote a report stating that the agency had deliberately distorted intelligence reports in 1964. He concluded, "The parallels between the faulty intelligence on Tonkin Gulf and the manipulated intelligence used to justify the Iraq War make it all the more worthwhile to re-examine the events of August 1964. Number 2. The Tuskegee syphilis experiment. This is truly disgusting if you haven't heard about this before. Between 1932 and 1972, the U.S. Public Health Service conducted a clinical study on rural African American men who had contracted syphilis. The Public Health Service never informed these men they had a sexually transmitted disease, nor did they offer treatment even after penicillin became available as a cure in the 1940s. Tragically, it's true. Rather than receiving treatment, the subjects of these studies were told that they had bad blood. When World War II began, 250 of the men registered for the draft and were only then for the first time informed they had syphilis. Even then, the PHS denied them treatment. By the early 1970s, 128 out of the original 399 men had died of syphilis and syphilis-related complications. 40 of their wives had the disease and 19 of their children were born with congenital syphilis. Worth pointing out, a similar experiment conducted on prisoners, soldiers, and patients of a mental hospital in Guatemala actually involved the PHS deliberately infecting the patients and treating them with antibiotics. Number 3, Project MK Ultra. The CIA ran secret mind control experiments on US citizens from the 1950s until 1973. They're still running them today. It's so true that in 1995, President Clinton actually issued a formal apology on behalf of the US government. Essentially, the CIA used drugs, electronics, hypnosis, sensory deprivation, verbal and sexual abuse, and torture to conduct experimental behavioral engineering experiments on subjects. The program subcontracted hundreds of these projects to over 80 different institutions, including universities, hospitals, prisons, and pharmaceutical companies. Most of this was uncovered in 1977 when a Freedom of Information Act exposed 20,000 previously classified documents and triggered a series of Senate hearings. Because CIA Director Richard Helms had most of the more damning MK-Ultra files destroyed in 1973, much of what actually occurred during these experiments is still unknown, and of course, not a single person was brought to justice. Worth pointing out, there is growing evidence that Theodore Kaczynski, otherwise known as the Unabomber, was a subject of the Project MK-Ultra while he was at Harvard in the late 1950s. Sin City Jason says almost all wars the USA has been involved in were CIA-orchestrated black projects, all to further the agenda. You are 100% correct, Sin City Jason. And Spartacus says, I'm pretty sure MK-Ultra is working on me, sadly. Brother, I'll tell you what, you are a revolutionary warrior. You are a revolutionary sergeant. And we are all bombarded with these mind control techniques every single day. But the difference between you and the average person is you can see what's going on and you have the courage to stand up against them. So continue on the right path, my brother Spartacus. We are going to be victorious. And yes, Sin City Jason agrees with me. He says MK-Ultra is ongoing. And Spartacus says, I have thoughts that are not my own. Of course, man, if you listen to any popular music, if you walk down the street and see a billboard, if you watch any television or any type of program or even things on the internet, if you use Facebook or Instagram, you are being bombarded with satanic subliminal messages. This happens all the time, but we must recognize what's going on. We must minimize the amount of time we spend looking at their propaganda channels, and we must fill our minds with positive thoughts, and we must fill our lives with positive actions. That's how we will be victorious, my brother. Number 4, Operation Northwoods. The Joint Chiefs of Staff of the U.S. military drew up and approved plans to create acts of terrorism on U.S. soil in order to sway the American public into supporting a war against Cuba. It's true. Oh, it's true. And the documents are out there. Fortunately, President Kennedy rejected the plan, which included innocent Americans being shot dead in the streets, boats carrying refugees fleeing Cuba to be sunk on the high seas, a wave of violent terrorism to be launched in Washington, D.C., Miami, and elsewhere, people being framed for bombings they did not commit, and planes being hijacked. Additionally, the Joint Chiefs of Staff, led by Chairman Lyman Lemnitzer, planned to fabricate evidence that would implicate Fidel Castro and Cuban refugees as perpetrators of the attacks. Perhaps most horrifyingly, Lemnitzer planned for an elaborate staged incident whereby a Cuban aircraft would attack and shoot down a plane full of college students. Sin City Jason says, don't listen to the voices in your head, bro. Yeah, man. I hear voices in my head. They come to me. They understand. They talk to me. Yes, Sin City Jason is right. Listen to your heart. That's a better song than the Randy Orton theme song. Spartacus said, well, I think if I harm someone, I won't survive long. I keep that in mind. Brother, no need to harm anybody. We are the warriors of love. We are the warriors of peace. We are the warriors of the revolution. And peaceful action will set humanity free. Number 5, CIA drug trafficking. During the 1980s, the CIA facilitated the sale of cocaine to the Crips and Blood street gangs of Los Angeles and funneled millions in drug profits to a Latin American guerrilla army. It's convoluted and complex, but it's true. Gary Webb's book Dark Alliance, The CIA, the Contras, and the Crack Cocaine Explosion outlines how CIA-backed Contras smuggled cocaine into the US and then distributed crack to LA gangs, pocketing the profits. The CIA directly aided the drug dealers to raise money for the Contras. This drug network, Webb wrote in a 1996 San Jose Mercury News article, opened the first pipeline between Colombia's cocaine cartels and the black neighborhoods of LA, a city now known as the crack capital of the world. The cocaine then flooded in helped spark a crack explosion in urban America and provided the cash and connections needed for LA's gangs to buy automatic weapons. Worth pointing out, on December 10, 2004, Webb committed suicide under suspicious circumstances, namely the fact that he used 2 bullets to shoot himself in the head. So, of course, if you expose the government's nefarious crimes, they're going to kill you, 2 bullets to the head, and say it's a suicide. And what type of idiot would believe this nonsense? Sin City Jason says, I think Project Northwoods was originally a CIA plan involving Cuba. Yes. And the Ghost Who Walks says, your gut feeling knows the truth. Exactly right. And Hot Dub Time Machine, thank you for tuning in. And Ghost Who Walks says, the truth lies in each and every one of us. You're exactly right, my brother. And yes, Sin City Jason, the government sold the weapons to the drug cartels all over South America and Central America. Number 6, Operation Mockingbird. In the late 1940s, as the Cold War was just getting underway, the CIA launched a secret project called Operation Mockingbird. Their goal was to buy influence and control among the major media outlets. They also planned to put journalists and reporters directly on the CIA payroll, which some claim is ongoing to this day. The architects of this plan were Frank Wisner, Alan Dulles, Richard Helms, and Philip Graham, publisher of the Washington Post, who planned to enlist American news organizations and journalists to basically become spies and propagandists. Their list of entrenched agents eventually included journalists from ABC, NBC, CBS, Time, Newsweek, the AP, UPI, Reuters, Hearst Newspapers, Scripps Howard, and Copley News Service. By the 1950s, the CIA had infiltrated the nation's businesses, media, and universities with tens of thousands of on-call operatives. Fortunately, our media is no longer lured in by corporations and governments to disseminate propaganda and disinformation. Actually, forget that last one. And Charmanica says, lol, 2 bullets. Absolutely insane. Sin City Jason says, yeah, he committed suicide. He tripped and fell backwards onto some bullets. Yeah, it reminds me of an old Slim Shady song. What, she tripped, fell, landed on his... Ghost Who Walks says, 420 time brother, will rip a couple for you, my brother, fire in the hole, pack one up for me, my man. Number 7, COINTELPRO. COINTELPRO was a series of clandestine, illegal FBI projects that infiltrated domestic political organizations to discredit and smear them. This included critics of the Vietnam War, civil rights leaders like Dr. Martin Luther King, and a wide variety of activists and journalists. The acts committed against them included psychological warfare, slander using forged documents and false reports in the media, harassment, wrongful imprisonment, and, according to some, intimidation and possibly violence and assassination. Similar and possibly more sophisticated tactics are still used today, including NSA monitoring. Many of you saw what happened to me. I was arrested, beaten up, charged with a whole bunch of frivolous charges for daring to have a peaceful, non-violent protest and say, "Stop the war," during the minute's silence on Anzac Day. And now they said on the mainstream media that I am now under investigation by an anti-terrorism unit. So hello to all of the mindless, moronic, mental midgets who make up the fixated persons unit. They demonized me in the media as a terrorist, and they have attempted to intimidate me with police coming to my house, with police coming up to me on the street. But I will not be intimidated. To quote Tom Petty, "No, I won't back down. No, I won't back down. You can stand me up at the gates of hell, but I won't back down." I'll tell you what, the power of peace will prevail. The power of truth will triumph, and the power of love will lead us to victory, my brothers and sisters. Sharmanica says, "What's going on with your case? Adjourned till August 10, but I will be victorious, just like we will be victorious." Number 8, Operation Snow White. Operation Snow White is the name given to an unprecedented infiltration of the US government by the Church of Scientology during the 1970s. They stole classified government files regarding Scientology from dozens of government agencies. In 1977, the FBI finally cracked Snow White open, which led to the arrest and imprisonment of a senior church official. The core mission of the program was to expose and legally expunge all false and secret files of the nations of operating areas, and to enable church seniors and L. Ron Hubbard himself to frequent all Western nations without threat. By the end, of course, there was nothing legal about their endeavors. Number 9, secret global economic policies. For years, activists who feared a sinister global corporatocracy were told they were being paranoid, man. Whether you want to call it the New World Order or not, they were right. In 2013, WikiLeaks released the secretly negotiated draft text for the entire TPP, or Trans-Pacific Partnership, Intellectual Property Rights Chapter. It revealed a closed-door regional free trade agreement being negotiated by countries in the Asia-Pacific region, including Australia, Brunei, Darussalam, Canada, Chile, Japan, Malaysia, Mexico, New Zealand, Peru, Singapore, the United States, and Vietnam. And Peter, thank you for tuning in, brother. And Tabasco says, "Wow, never heard of Snow White." I didn't hear about it until I read this article either, to be honest with you. The Electronic Frontier Foundation says TPT has extensive negative ramifications for users' freedom of speech, right to privacy and due process, and will hinder people's abilities to innovate. Worth pointing out, in June 2014, WikiLeaks revealed that even more far-reaching Trade in Services Agreement, or TISA, a 50-country agreement that will promote unprecedented levels of privatization across the world. The agreement will essentially prevent governments from returning public services into public hands. This could dramatically affect our ability to enact environmental regulations and keep workers safe. And Sharmanicist says, didn't mention Agenda 21. No, this particular article doesn't mention Agenda 21, but we know about that. And we know how people are being herded into cities, how food is being controlled, how every aspect of our lives is being surveilled and monitored and controlled, and that is their plan for the entire world. Number 10, the US government illegally spies on its own citizens. This used to be laughed at as a dystopian fantasy derived from an overactive imagination. Orwell's 1984, and a juvenile distrust of the government. When you claimed they were spying on you, people labelled you a paranoid conspiracy theorist, a tinfoil hat wearing loon. Even after it was revealed that the NSA has been illegally eavesdropping on us and collecting our cell phone metadata for over a decade, people still hedged on the meaning of it. Yes, they are analysing our transmissions, but it's under the auspices of national security. In a post-9/11 world, certain liberties must be sacrificed for the sake of security, right? It turns out this is patently untrue. Not only is there no evidence that the NSA protects us from terrorism, there is growing evidence that it makes us more vulnerable. Thanks to revelations about the NSA and their PRISM project, we know that the scope of the NSA's eavesdropping is even beyond what we originally believed. In early June of 2014, the Washington Post reported that almost 90% of the data being collected by NSA surveillance programs is from internet users with no connection to terrorist activities. According to the American Civil Liberties Union, this is in clear violation of the Constitution. The ACLU is pursuing a lawsuit against the NSA, claiming that the Dragnet-style mass collection of data violates the Fourth Amendment right of privacy as well as the First Amendment rights of free speech and association. Number 11. Operation Ajax, the CIA's Iranian coup. In Iran, it was called 28 Mordad coup. The UK contributed under the name Operation Boot. However you refer to it, Operation Ajax was an Iranian coup that in 1953 deposed the democratically elected Mohammad Mossadegh and reinstalled the monarchical power of Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi. The primary cause of the coup was Mossadegh's attempts to nationalize Iran's oil fields, which threatens the oil profits of Britain's Anglo-Persian Oil Company, or AIOC. The US, in addition to protecting its allies' petroleum monopoly, viewed Mossadegh's move as a communist aggression and therefore helped plan the return to power of one of the world's most insidious dictators, the Shah. Operation Ajax resulted almost directly in the 1979 Iranian Revolution that created an anti-West Islamic Republic led by the Ayatollah Khomeini. Though it was long considered an open secret, the US government kept the truth behind Operation Ajax concealed from the American people until very recently. The CIA declassified various documents on the 60th anniversary of the coup. Because of the recent declassification, much information relevant to the CIA-sponsored coup is now available in the CIA's archives. In describing Operation Ajax, the CIA itself has become rather oddly self-reflective. The world has paid a heavy price for the lack of democracy in most of the Middle East. Operation Ajax taught tyrants and aspiring tyrants that the world's most powerful governments were willing to tolerate limitless oppression as long as oppressive regimes were friendly to the West and Western oil companies. That helped tilt the balance in a vast region away from freedom. That helped tilt the political balance in a vast region away from freedom and toward dictatorship. In a recent interview on Democracy Now!, Bernie Sanders remarked to Amy Goodman that this seminal chapter in the history of US Middle East relations is almost entirely ignored by mainstream media. Have you seen many shows about that on NBC? He asked the crowd. And Willis says, shirt ordered. You! Much love to you, Willis. I know I ordered mine a few weeks ago. I ordered a pink sweater and a hoodie and a t-shirt. Bear with me a moment. Cheers to victory. So thank you very much. I appreciate the support. Willis, much love to you. I'll put in the comments section once again the link to the store. It is the Save the World Army .threadless.com. whole bunch of t-shirts, hoodies, mugs, whole bunch of Save the World Army paraphernalia, and goes to Willis, I should say, says, have you still got singlets? Bro, singlets are available on the site. I don't have any more singlets of the old ones that I had, but they got singlets and a whole bunch of stuff on the site. So thank you so much, Willis. I appreciate that. If you want to get a classic t-shirt, Save the World Army t-shirt, they've got a whole bunch of colors and they are $20 US. So head over to the savetheworldarmy.threadless.com. Thank you all for your support. Number 12, Nayirah, the false pretext for the first Gulf War. It's now commonly believed that the Second Iraq War was sold to the American people and their congressional representatives based on an elaborate web of lies and manipulated intelligence. Oh, what a tangled web they weave. What is less commonly known is that the First Iraq War came about in a very similar fashion. While, surprisingly, there is broad agreement that Operation Desert Storm was a worthwhile war, many people overlook the role of a 15-year-old girl named Nayirah, whose 1990 testimony to the Congressional Human Rights Caucus is credited with cementing the idea of Iraqi war crimes in the American popular consciousness. Nayirah testified to having witnessed Iraqi troops tearing babies from their incubators in Kuwaiti hospitals and leaving them to die on the floor. It's a profoundly disturbing image and one that was entirely fictitious. And I remember seeing this video of this clown, this little girl, saying, oh, they left the babies on the floor. Complete propaganda. After a lengthy investigation, Amnesty International and other independent watchdog groups discovered that the situation described by Nayirah was fabricated by a PR firm named Hill and Knowlton, the largest in the world at the time, which was hired by the group Citizens for a Free Kuwait in order to create propaganda that would galvanize pro-war sentiment. The man overseeing the campaign was Bush political confidant Craig Fuller. This was a massive project utilizing 119 H&K executives in 12 offices across the United States and even involved casting Nayirah, who turned out to be Nayirah al-Sabah, daughter of the Saud bin Nasser al-Sabah, Kuwaiti ambassador to the US. The Justice Department, which could have investigated the entire effort under the Foreign Agents Registration Act, turned a blind eye, allowing the Bush administration to pull off a massive wag-the-dog-style ideological false flag. Others call it atrocity propaganda, a form of PSYOP, and we see that all the time with this gruesome propaganda they put out to further their agenda and to further their perpetual wars. The Nayirah story is just another example of the government falsifying a narrative in order to manipulate the public into supporting a war. This kind of psychological propaganda continued all through the Second Iraq War and the War on Terror. Just recently, it was revealed that the Pentagon paid PR firm Bell Pottinger $540 million to create fake terrorist videos in Iraq. Truly sickening. And Goes to Walk says, watch your time limit, brother. Thank you. And EPXO, thank you for tuning in. We only got a few more minutes. I'll read maybe two more of these. Number 13. Operation Paperclip. Originally called Operation Overcast, Operation Paperclip was the code name of the secret American plan to conscript Nazi scientists into US intelligence services at the end of World War II. This ushered in and shielded about 1,500 Germans, including some engineers and technicians. Ostensibly, the purpose of this redeployment by the Joint Intelligence Objectives Agency, or JIOA, was to prevent Nazi scientific intelligence from helping reconstitute a new German government. It was also a tactic meant to ensure the Soviet Union didn't acquire any new technology. Whatever strategic mindset might have lived inside Operation Paperclip, at its core, the project gave American identities to some of the most ruthless war criminals the world has ever seen. According to Ynet, The new Nazi CIA scientists helped develop chemical weapons for the US and worked alongside American scientists to develop LSD, which the CIA viewed as a truth serum. So, in a sick way, we should thank them for that. And Tabasco says, I see the word PSYOP. What does this mean? It's short for psychological operation. Basically, television is a PSYOP. The war on terror is a PSYOP. Anything where they mess with your mind, anything where they're feeding you lies is a PSYOP or psychological operation. And yes, Shamanicist, Instagram has a 1 hour time limit on videos. But this video will be linked on our YouTube page, which is youtube.com/c/SaveWorldArmy. And also, many thanks to Revolutionary Corporal Ghost Who Walks, who has access to the Save the World Army Facebook page on Facebook, of course, and he will post a link to the YouTube video after this broadcast has ended. And we've got 4 minutes to go, so I'm going to sign off. I would like to thank all of you for all of your support. It's truly crazy because they're killing people all over the world. They're raping people all over the world. They are enslaving the human race. But we must have the courage to continue to fight them using peaceful means every single day. Yeah, and I read that as well, Shamanicus. Hitler lived in South America to a ripe old age. Yes, in Argentina, apparently. And Tabasco says, oh, okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Revolutionary Warrior number 1, General of the Save the World Army, Smokin' Joe McHale. And together, we are beating the Illuminati, breaking the New World Order, bringing down the world government, and saving the world from evil. Much love to all of you. Do whatever you can to take care of yourself, to take care of your health, to take care of your family and your friends, and to spread the word, to use whatever peaceful methods you have at your disposal to bring this evil system down. My brothers and sisters, the revolution is here, and we will be victorious. Woo! Yeah!